I think it's important to put it in context. First of all, our universities, generally speaking, are homes to free speech. The issue is there are pockets of erosion of this core principle, and we see it in the issues you mentioned, in no platforming, safe spaces, banned words, lists of banned words, and so forth, the removal of books from libraries, and so forth. So it's being nibbled away at the margins. And it's important that we take a stand now, because this is in danger of becoming a slippery slope that in time, if it was left unchecked, could gravely compromise our university system and the important role they play in stimulating debate and testing and challenging ideas.
Are there some views that should not be heard in public?
Yes, absolutely. And these are defined in law by Parliament. So what we're talking about is making sure that we have freedom of speech within the law. Now, all countries, or most countries anyway, have exceptions to freedom of speech, and they're there in order to prohibit speech that, for example, incites religious or racial hatred or incites bigotry on the grounds of people's sexual orientation. It's important that everyone understands that what we're talking about is ensuring that legal free speech is properly promoted at our universities.
We talk about the freedom to free speech, if you prefer. What about the freedom of universities to decide what they think is acceptable and not acceptable?
Our universities are under a legal duty, first of all, under the 1986 Education Act, which we've extended this year in the Higher Education and Research Act to promote free expression. And it's really important because, our universities are the crucibles in which we challenge ideas, in which we advance knowledge in our society. And it's really important that they serve that purpose of being the testing grounds and the hubs of debate in our society. And that's why they have this duty in law to promote freedom of speech. And what we're doing now with the creation of the new regulator, the Office for Students.
That's what I was going to ask you about next. From next April, a new regulator, the Office for Students, will have the power to fine universities. What other powers will he or she have?
Well, the new regulator comes into existence next week, and then it will be fully operational, as you said, from the 1st of April. It will have a range of powers that it will use proportionately according to the issue that it is dealing with. And ultimately, yes, it does have powers to fine institutions should that be necessary and proportionate. One would hope that would be something of a last resort rather than the first tool in the regulatory toolbox that the regulator takes use of. I would hope that the regulator would be able to look at how an institution was implementing its code of practice, which it will be required to have on how it is implementing its duty to promote freedom of expression, and be able to have quiet words with institutions if it feels that the code of practice isn't being properly implemented.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.